power of the heart. Finding your inner wisdom.
The power of the heart.
Finding the power of the
Finding the
heart.
power of the heart.
The power of
Power
the
of the power of the heart.
让我们寻回新的力量。The
Power
Power
of
of
the
the heart.
Thank you for joining us today. My name is Yuru Chao. You are tuning into the Power of the Heart on Dai Radio. Every Chinese New Year, Dharma Master Zhen Yan takes time to give her disciples a sense of direction. Her key messages are always involving gratitude, respect, and love. In the holiday season, amidst joy and celebration, she asks Tzu Chi volunteer to be grateful and sincere for the safety and security they enjoy in their daily life. She also wishes everyone to exercise discipline and prudence for the coming new year so that we can have hope for a better tomorrow. While expressing her appreciation to members of Tzu Chi for dedicating themselves to help better people's life and truly create blessing for their communities, she reminds them that is the spirit of a Buddha, caring for all humanity and the problems of the world. They should set as their goal the kind of full enlightenment and awakening that the Buddha attained and walk on the path that will enable them to reach it, the Bodhisattva path. With their participation in Tzu Chi, they bring peace, safety, and well-being to all people. With that said, she never forgets to remind volunteers that they always need to keep sincere prayers in their hearts. They also need to live out each and every second mindfully to make sure that they stay on the right path. At every moment, their heart and mind need to be governed by precepts, samadhi, and wisdom. What does that mean? They need to take hold of their every thought and ensure that it is upright and that they are going in the right direction. This is very important because time moves very quickly. Should their direction be off in the slightest, very quickly they'll be far down the wrong path and find themselves very off course. That is why they need to be careful and mindful with every single thought and be disciplined in keeping themselves on the right path. For this, their minds will need to be very focused and well-disciplined, instead of easily influenced by outside temptations. This strength of mind is called samadhi. As they do this, they can develop and grow in wisdom to keep them from going down the wrong path. So, at every moment, they need to exercise such vigilance and sincere piety. She also cautioned people to watch over their actions, words, and thoughts. If they shall harbor any unwholesome thought, speak unkind or harshly, or do a wrong thing, it will not only hurt themselves and injure their character and integrity, but might also cause problems in their family and with their friends. Worst case scenario is that these wrong thoughts, words, and actions can cause disorder and unrest in the society. If people speak to others with a gentle and loving heart, naturally the words they speak will be kind and constructive. By being mindful in their thoughts, words, and actions, people will enjoy a life of peace and joy. So whether people can have a year of peace and blessing truly depend on their own discipline in keeping to the right path. Master Zhen Yan said, "The time of the new year isn't only a transition from the old year to the new. It is really a time of inner renewal. Let us remember to always keep our hearts pure and very broad, and seize each moment, living it with sincere piety and vigilance as well as gratitude, continuously growing in our wisdom." In our program today, we'll begin with a reading of Master Zhen Yan's teaching on life economics about getting along under the same roof. This reading is provided by Mr. Colin Legerton.
You are listening to The Power of the Heart on Dai Radio. Tapping into the power of the heart. Finding your inner wisdom. Finding the power of the heart.
Chapter 7. Achieving Harmony Among People, Matters, and Principles. In life, we cannot avoid interactions with people. When our minds are narrow, then nothing can get through. But if we can let go, what trouble is there? Planting good seeds enables us to reap good fruits, and forming good affinities allows us to attain good retributions. This is the cycle of cause and effect. In order to create good affinities with others, we should first eliminate the habits of hatred and anger and begin to practice tolerance. Tolerance is not an easy thing to practice. Let us look at the word in Chinese. Chinese characters are so clever. The character for tolerance depicts a knife sticking into a heart. Removing the knife from the heart without causing harm would truly require tremendous skill. Some people are so kind and friendly that when you see them, you just light up. Superintendent Zhang of Yuli Siji General Hospital is one such person. In addition to running the hospital, he often participates in free clinics and goes on house calls. Yet no matter how busy he is, he never forgets to smile. The doctors and nurses of Yuli Siji General Hospital regularly conduct house calls to serve those living in remote areas. As they do, they often visit a 90-year-old man who lives alone, even though he is healthy. During one of their visits, they noticed the man's hands and legs were red and swollen, so they suggested that he seek treatment. The man was not happy with the suggestion, and he replied firmly, "I study Chinese herbal medicine. I will treat it myself." Upon returning to the hospital, the staff reported this incident to Superintendent Zhang, who immediately rushed to see the old man. Upon seeing him, Superintendent Zhang bowed respectfully and extended friendly greetings. His courtesy and friendliness made the old man take a liking to him, and immediately shortened the distance between them. Superintendent Zhang chatted with the old man and praised his studies in Chinese medicine. Delighted, the old man let Superintendent Zhang examine his swollen hands. Superintendent Zhang saw that his hands were not only swollen, but had also developed a drug rash. He knew that it must itch, so he took out some rubbing alcohol and wetted a cotton ball. He asked, "Is it itchy? Would it be all right if I dab this cooling liquid on your hands?" The old man consented with pleasure. The superintendent continued, "Although Chinese herbal medicine is good, the rash is irritating you, and once the skin breaks, an ulcer will follow. How about I put some ointment on the rash first?" Having formed a good impression about the superintendent from the very beginning, the old man agreed to everything the superintendent suggested. Superintendent Zhang deftly treated the swollen area, and a week later it was completely healed. We must always be big-hearted. Whenever we deal with something, let us not argue or lose our temper. Instead, let us consider it our duty. True tolerance is not tolerating until you can no longer bear, but rather tolerating without effort. If we can do this, our interactions with others will be free of obstacles. I often say, when we perfect our relationships and actions, then our principles are perfect. When we interact with others and handle our affairs in harmony, then our principles are correct. Such is the pure, well-rounded heart. Section 1. Getting along under the same roof. A Taiwanese adage says, "Parents' love for their children is like a stream of ever-flowing water." Just as water continually flows downstream, parents unconditionally give of themselves to their children and never ask for anything in return. They are frugal and hard on themselves for the sake of their children. They have only one desire, to save more money to pass on to their children and grandchildren. But do children understand their parents' intentions? Conventional wisdom states, wealth does not last beyond 3 generations. Parents should realize that passing on virtue is better than passing on wealth. In Chinese society, the most admirable virtue is family ethics. Parents love and take good care of their children when they are young. In return, children should repay their parents' grace and be filial when they grow up. A happy family is one in which children are filial to parents and elders, husband and wife live in harmony, and parents raise their children with love and wisdom. Parents are role models for their children. People used to say, after giving birth to a child, the mother will tell lies for 3 years. This describes just how much parents adore their children. For example, when a child is babbling out his first sounds, the mother will think that her child is talking. I once saw filial children behaving in the same manner. No one was sure whether an ailing mother was nodding her head, because it was not obvious to people outside the family. Yet the daughter remarked excitedly, "Yes, mother is nodding her head. She heard us." Parents are role models for their children. How they treat their own parents serves as an example to their children. For this reason, parents should seize every opportunity to be filial to their own parents. We should treat parents like living Buddhas in our home by always paying close attention to their daily needs and looking after them. I know an orchard owner and his wife who work hard every day to make a living. During the day, their mother helps take care of their children. As soon as the wife comes home, however, she immediately wants the children to come to her side. If her children still stay close to their grandmother, she scolds them for relying on her too much. Sometimes the grandmother would cook something special for the children. When the wife came home, she would take it away and cook something else. She was often rude to her mother-in-law right in front of the children. When her husband witnessed such incidents, he felt bad. He told his wife, "You should be kinder to mother." She replied matter-of-factly, "Our children are like the fruit in our orchard. We work hard in the hopes of bearing fruit. Once we have fruit, we should love and cherish them." Her response made her husband feel helpless. One day, her husband went to the orchard and chopped the roots of a tree. The leaves and fruit gradually withered and fell off. The wife cried out in shock, "What happened? The fruit all fell off the tree." "Didn't you see that the roots are severed?" her husband asked. "Why are the roots severed?" "Because I chopped them off." "You idiot! How could you chop off the tree's roots? The fruit all fell off." He answered, "You are right. We must take care of the tree's roots, just as we must take care of our own roots. My parents brought me into this world, and my mother worked hard to raise me. Filial piety is the foundation of being human. If you cannot be filial, it is as if your roots have been chopped off. How can you bear good fruit?" The wife thought over what her husband said and admitted that she had been wrong. Since then, she has been a filial daughter-in-law. Parents must take responsibility for their family and raise their children with love. At the same time, children must be filial to their parents and elders. There is a Siji couple that lives together with the man's father. The wife is a Siji commissioner and the husband is a Sicheng Faith Corps member. Every morning the old father goes out to exercise. When he comes home, the daughter-in-law greets him. "It's cold out, father. Were you dressed warmly enough? You must be exhausted." She helps him sit down, brings him a towel, and serves him tea. The father-in-law asks, "Now that you've already finished the household chores, what are your plans for today?" The couple often tell him about Siji activities, which he enjoys hearing. When his young grandson comes home from school, the child immediately hugs his grandfather, who hugs him back and lovingly asks about his schoolwork. The boy cheerfully tells him, "I earned the highest score in the exam." The boy's father wants to reward him with cash, but the boy says he will save the money in his piggy bank to do good deeds. This family is harmonious and happy. The daughter-in-law is respectful to her father-in-law, as is the son to his father. They show their care with a gentle voice. The grandfather is happy, the parents are kind, and the child is filial. This is truly a blessed family. Genuine tolerance resolves conflicts. There is an interesting story about 2 brothers who wanted to divide up their inheritance. Since their parents had passed away, these 2 brothers asked their great-uncle's help to ensure an equitable distribution of the family belongings. Neither the brothers nor their wives were willing to yield. Feeling helpless, the great-uncle said, "Let us bring out all the family assets and allocate them one by one." Then he pointed to the items one by one and asked the brothers who should get it. But they continued to bicker over each item, wanting their share in everything. Finally, the great-uncle had had enough. He broke a plate in two and said to the brothers, "Here, this half of the plate is for you, and this half is yours." As he went to break the tables, chairs, and clothing in half, the two brothers decided it was better not to divide up their property. Sibling ties are too close to be divided. We can divide objects, but can our hearts truly be separated? Unfortunately, our minds are always discriminating and calculating, which can damage relationships between family members and even lead to hate and resentment. If everyone squares off as enemies, how can our world be harmonious? During the Tang Dynasty, Emperor Gaozong thought highly of filial piety. During his reign, there was a family by the name of Zhang that had 9 generations living under the same roof. One day, the emperor was out on an inspection trip and stopped by Zhang's house. The emperor asked, "How do you keep such a large family living in harmony?" Mr. Zhang did not say a word. He just picked up a brush and wrote the word tolerance 100 times. Seeing this, the emperor was moved to tears. Indeed, everyone in a large extended family must tolerate one another in order to achieve harmony. It is of no use if only one person tolerates the others, and harmony cannot be reached if but one member does not practice tolerance. Therefore, everyone must tolerate everyone else. Only with tolerance can we have a broad mind. In a traditional society, family ethics are highly valued. In modern times, however, people pay less attention to family values and often do as they please. I see many young couples who work hard to get ahead, but once they achieve financial success, they can no longer get along with one another. As a result, they are easily turned to divorce, and they lose their happy and harmonious families. This is truly a pity. Years ago, when I was teaching the Earth Treasury Sutra, a woman in her 60s said to me, "Master, you don't know how bad my husband was." She then told me how she and her husband had changed after listening to my teachings on the sutra. In the past, she could not help but quarrel with her husband, and her husband would beat her. She lifted her shirt to show me her scars. "Master, the scars have deformed me here and also here. How could I not think of committing suicide?" "How did you change your way of thinking?" I asked. "Master, you once said that committing suicide adds to your sins and creates bad karma, so I decided to settle my past bad karma." "How?" I asked. She explained with an example. One day, her husband had come home late and she was very upset at first. But then she thought about the sutra teaching she had just heard and decided to seize the opportunity to practice what she had learned. She therefore refrained from yelling at her husband. Later, when her husband complained about his stomach aching, she asked, "Have you eaten yet? Shall I cook something for you?" Her husband was skeptical. "Are you genuinely offering, or are you faking it?" he asked. "Please don't be like that. I really mean it. We have been married for so many years. Please give me a chance to serve you. I know eating usually makes you feel better when you have a stomach ache." Her husband said, "Then how about cooking some noodles for me?" So she brought a pot of water to a boil, cooked the noodles, mixed in some tea oil, and brought it to her husband. Seeing her husband sound asleep, she woke him up and encouraged him to eat while the noodles were still hot. Upon seeing the noodles, her husband said unhappily, "I'm thirsty. I want noodle soup." The wife became irritated. She thought to herself that if it was before, she could not care less whether he ate or not. But now she would be tolerant. She told him, "I will make you a broth so that you can eat the noodles with it." So she cooked the broth and brought it to him. Her husband complained again, "This soup is too oily. I feel like eating rice porridge." The wife forced herself to control her temper and said, "All right, I will eat the noodles myself." She went to wash the rice and cook the porridge. When the porridge was almost done, she asked her husband, "What would you like with the porridge?" She brought out the porridge and some pickled cucumbers. Her husband stared at her and said, "You are different today. How come you did not lose your temper? Are you feeling all right?" She said, "From now on, I will not get mad at you. Because I am listening to the Master's teachings on the Earth Treasury Sutra. I do not want to form bad affinities with you. Rather, I want to help you reach enlightenment." Her husband laughed. You've only been studying Buddhism for 3 days, yet you think you can help me reach enlightenment? She replied, Not yet. I have to wait until you are moved. Each day she came to listen to my teachings. Later on, her husband started coming with her. The wife told me, My husband has started to repent after listening to the sutras. I asked her husband, Have you repented? He replied, I still do not fully understand repentance, but I have already realized that I treated my wife terribly. I asked, How about now? Now I should cherish her and thank her every day. I told him, That is right. You must cherish your wife as you would your child. I asked the wife, How do you treat your husband now? I cherish him as well. I said, Yes, you should cherish your husband as you would cherish your own child. If we can do that, harmonious hearts make everything flourish. We all must abide by rules. For an individual, it is spiritual practice. For a group of people, it is a system. A family also has rules of behavior. When each family member abides by the family ethics, then parents are kind, children are filial, brothers are close, and sisters-in-law are amiable. The family will of course be harmonious. There is an old saying, a harmonious family is prosperous. To have a harmonious family, everyone in the family must have their hearts in harmony. In other words, harmonious hearts make everything flourish. As soon as people lose that harmonious relationship, nothing can be accomplished. I often illustrate this point with the following story. A couple owned a bakery and led a very busy life. They often lost their tempers with each other over the smallest incidents. Their daily quarrels and physical fights disturbed the whole neighborhood, so the neighbors asked their mayor to help resolve the problem. The mayor said, I know we have to solve this problem, but this couple is so rude that the more I ask them to stop, the more fiercely they fight. It is very troublesome. One day, while the mayor was taking a walk, he saw from afar that the couple was fighting again in their bakery. He overheard the husband shouting angrily, If you don't do as you're told, I'll take this knife and kill you. The wife shouted back loudly, Go ahead and kill me. I have no desire to live anyway. The mayor rushed to make peace, but the couple did not listen. Instead, they fought even harder. The mayor suddenly came up with an idea. He shouted to the street, Fellow villagers, come quickly. Help yourselves to free pastries. Take as many as you like. As soon as the couple heard the mayor calling everyone to come take free pastries, they hurriedly asked why he would do such a thing. The mayor replied, One of you wants to kill the other, and the other wants to die. What good will these pastries be when one of you is dead and the other in jail? After hearing the mayor's words, the couple was silent. The mayor continued, Couples should not fight over trivial matters. You are married because of your karmic affinity, so you should respect each other and resolve your differences with hearts of gratitude. You could not bear to see people come and take your pastries, which shows that you care deeply for the fruits of your labors. As such, you should not throw them away so casually. The couple carefully thought this over and found that the mayor's words made sense. They promised that they would get along with each other and not fight again. For a family to coexist harmoniously, each member must do his duty and uphold his obligations. When all members clearly understand their duties and mindfully carry out their responsibilities, they can feel calm even after a long and busy day. On the other hand, when one person complains about working too much or thinks his workload is unfair, then he is unable to balance his emotions. As a result, he will have countless afflictions and cause many disputes in the family. There is an old saying, Blessings come to a family that is full of goodness. Goodness and love are truly the best family heirlooms. Sunshine on Grass Mountain, a Da'ai television drama series, depicts the true story of Mr. Gao and his harmonious family. Even though Mr. Gao's father had passed away, he and his brothers continued on as one united family. His oldest brother tried a few times to divide the family assets in hopes of letting each of his younger brothers become independent. But his siblings were unwilling to go their separate ways, because the brothers and their wives all got along so well with one another. Mr. Gao was in the construction business. Once, one of his friends defaulted on a loan of several $1,000,000. None of his family members blamed him for the tremendous loss. Instead, they assumed the loss together. They helped and supported one another to overcome this hardship. Mr. Gao's business eventually recovered, because he had a united family to support him and siblings who took care of one another. The Buddha said that life is suffering. Those who are truly understanding and tolerant will be able to get along with others. A harmonious life is truly a blessing.
Da'ai Radio is just a click away. You can listen to Da'ai Radio anywhere in the world.
Hello everyone, my name is Susan Wang. I'm from Beijing. My favorite Jingshi aphorism is, over the years, when I encounter obstacles and setbacks, I have always treated them as scenery along the journey. Just like when we go mountain climbing, our goal is to reach the summit so that we shouldn't get caught up in the scenery along the way, letting it keep us from achieving our goal. I like this teaching from Master Zheng Yan because everyone will encounter setbacks in their lifetime. So I encourage myself, and sometimes I encourage my other friends with this master's teaching, and I found it very helpful. May wisdom and inspirations be with you always.
Angels in blue, crossing horizons. My timeless wish is to fly with you. Always, always, in every location. Long to live life like you do. Shines moonlight, lighting my path home. Gray blue seas and mountains between and me. My heart lights with your glow, beaming the spirit of home. Marching journeys past plain hills and trees, I'll find my true mission in life. Lonely and worn, I know I may be, I still cherish this calling.